this week's special, we'll look at our favourite superhero film prior to the Marvel cinema universe, whatever it's called.
Cinematic.
That's the one, cinematic universe. So we are talking everything prior to Iron Man 1, the first Iron Man film.
In 2008.
Yeah. So I'm looking at 80s and 90s predominantly here, I'll be honest. There may be the odd 70s film thrown in there. But
can I ask you a question first?
Yeah.
Does Howard the Duck feature in your top 5?
No.
Right.
It's been a while since I've seen that one. We should do that, but no, it doesn't, thankfully. You've got a lovely picture on your background, which is Ghost Rider. Would that potentially be one of your top picks?
No, not at all. I only picked that because Nick Cage is in it, and it's like a little nod to the best actor of all time, Nick Cage, and it's common. Also, this is not this Ghost Rider is not pre. I don't think it's pre Iron Man, is it? I think it came out. Isn't it one of the MCU films?
Oh, I think it's pre Iron Man, isn't it?
I'll check for you now. Ghost Rider.
I thought it was 90s, but then
2007.
Ooh,
oh, so it's just before
1 year.
Ghost Rider is a bag of shit, but I only picked this background because it's just. I didn't want to pick what I was going to pick as my favorite because then the listeners will just know straight away what I'm going to, or the viewers will know what I'm going to go for straight away.
Go on then. What's your pick?
Well, I want to. There's quite a few I want to get. There's a couple I want to talk about here, but my.
I'll tell you what. We'll give you 3. We'll give you 3.
Okay, I'm going to go for one. I'm going to go for one first. Okay, my absolute favorite first, and then I'll just pepper around what you guys talk about. Okay, my absolute favorite comic book movie, before like pre-Marvel or whatever, is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film from 1990, directed by Steve Barron. Wow. That I reckon does not get enough credit. That film.
I'll tell you why that doesn't get enough credit, because I don't think that's a superhero film.
I think the superheroes, mate. They are fucking gigantic turtles that have ninja powers. In my eyes, that's if you're going to say Batman is a superhero, but a giant turtle is a superhero.
Heroes in a half shell. We mentioned this on another podcast about one of our friends introduced us to a film, and I mentioned him then, and it was Darren, and he introduced me to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, as we knew them in the UK.
It was Hero Turtles when I was a kid as well, but I'm talking to all of our international viewers.
Well,
it was originally Ninja Turtles in the UK, but they changed it very early on.
I watched it a while ago. When I was in college, I'll start again. I was actually fortunate enough to be given all of the original comic books that came out before the cartoon series came out. And the Turtles, I think it was by Kevin Eastman or Peter Laird, I think the names were. Their original comic for the Ninja Turtles was a very dark, gritty sort of story. And I think, although the film from 1990 does have a lot of like similarities with the cartoon, what it also has is it really goes. You can tell it draws a big chunk of his influence from the comics. It's darkly lit. It's like they swear in it. They do swear, and like it's just that was when I was a kid. I used to watch all of the Turtle films, and I always remember the first one was a bit more. It just felt like a more of a grown-up film, if you know what I mean. And I watched it in subsequent years, and I thought, oh, this is going to be shit now, and it holds up really well. It's still a really good film. The puppet design in there is amazing. The costumes and design by Jim Henson's amazing. It's a good story. It shouldn't work, but it does. It's a great film, and that's why it's my. It's not my favorite ever comic book movie, but it's my favorite one before all of the new stuff started coming out. Until Marvel started coming on the scene.
Prog. I'll go next. Sorry, and okay. I'll pick Batman as my ultimate favorite. We did it on the podcast not long ago, and I boldly said that I thought it was the best superhero film at that particular time, and it probably kick-started the superhero genre into films. Yes, we'd had films prior to that. We'd had Superman, which was absolutely huge. But for me, Batman was what started everything.
Well, I think Batman needed to happen, doesn't it? Because I like this old Superman films, but they're very like they're happy and lovely and colourful and pretty. But the 1989 Batman, Tim Burton's one, is just a bit more.
Well, it's gothic, it's gritty, it's dark, it's everything I think Batman needed to be, to move away from the 1960s TV show.
Well, I always thought I didn't like the Tim Burton Batman films until me and Prog watched it one night downstairs, because you were watching it for this podcast, weren't you? And I sat down and watched the movie downstairs.
Yeah,
and I was blown away by it. I was like, I can't believe I used to think I didn't like this film. I think because I've always had I think when I was a kid I used to prefer Batman Returns and I didn't like the first one. But now that I'm older, I love the first one more.
Yeah, that first Batman film is, it's my favorite Batman film still. I've got an appreciation for the Nolan films, but if I wanted to sit down and watch a Batman film, I'm watching the first Burton one. I'm not watching any of the Nolan ones.
Nolan? More like Snolan.
Yeah, Adam's not a fan. You had.
Oh, the Chris Nolan Batman films are so fucking boring. The first Tim Burton ones, and the Joel Schumacher ones all the way, but not the Chris Nolan ones. Sorry, Prog.
No, I'm sorry. I will go out on a limb here and go into Adam's territory, and I am going to make a bold statement, and that's I think The Dark Knight is the most overrated film ever.
Yep.
It's just so, yeah. Again, I think it's a good film. It's not like the second best film ever or whatever it's ranked on IMDb at the moment.
It's really good for the first 3 hours are good. It's the last 3 hours that are boring.
Yeah. The second 3 hours are quite bad. Yeah, it drops.
When Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face to me. That's when the film falls apart. Personally,
I'm gonna cause a ruction here, I think, if we add enough listeners or watchers. But I find Heath Ledger's Joker quite boring as well. I just do. I think he's very good as Joker, but I just find that particular version of the Joker just one note. I just find it the same all the way through the film.
He's no Jack Nicholson, that's for sure.
Oh, no way.
Andrew, you should, after Prog said that statement, you should hard cut to a text screen that says Prog was only joking. It's a music like.
You should have just dropped me out of the video.
Just send to Prog from this point onwards.
Come on, then, Prog. On that note, what is your favourite?
Okay, well, I got a top 5. So if you want me to run through them,
yeah,
go on then, because I got a couple of mentions at the end. But yeah, go on.
So one I definitely wanted to mention, so I put in number 5 is Darkman
with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Is that based on a comic book?
No, but he's a superhero.
But they're superheroes. This is not necessarily comics.
Sorry, I thought you meant films based on comics. Sorry.
But I think Darkman is, though. I'm pretty sure Darkman is.
It's based on Sam Raimi's own short story.
All right.
Yeah.
Good film.
I really like that film. I'm not going to say it's as good as a lot of the other superhero films, but it's one of those films I think doesn't get recognized enough.
I think it's because it falls down on some dodgy special effects, and that's what people remember it for. But it is a decent film.
Yeah, and I love Liam Neeson. I think he's been underutilized as a screen presence within movies. Right, this is where it gets tough for me. So, because I got a proper top 4, and I'm not sure where to order them. So, number 4, I'm going to go Unbreakable with Bruce Willis. I remember watching the film when it came out. I remember going to the cinema to watch it because I was a fan of The Sixth Sense. So I thought, oh, M. Night Shyamalan's got a new one. I'll go and watch this. And I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. I've watched it again since, and I still like the film. I think it still holds up. And I think it's one of Bruce Willis's best films. Number 3, I'm going to go Superman 2.
Ooh.
So Superman 2 is where you have...
Sorry.
He flies around the world and turns back time.
no, that's Superman 1.
That's one, is it? Right, okay.
Superman 2 is where you have... who's the evil bad guys? The three of them.
I know, yeah.
They escape the Fortress of Solitude or something, don't they? I can't
is
remember.
it, Zog.
That's it. Or is it something like that,
I
isn't
think
it?
it was Zod.
Zod.
Zod, yeah.
Zod and his two henchmen. But I really, really like that film because this Superman gives up his powers, doesn't he, for a time? And I always remember the end of the film when he gets his powers back and he goes back to that canteen and he beats up that guy who'd been bullying him. I always loved that scene when I was growing up. So number 2 for me, and this is a shout out to my brother, is The Crow.
Brandon Lee.
I think
The Crow.
I really, really like that film. I watched it again a few months ago, actually, and I still enjoy that film. But number 1...
Do you remember...
Oh, go on, bud. Go on.
Just about The Crow. Do you remember the time where every house party or costume party you'd ever go to on Halloween would have at least 7 guys dressed as The Crow?
Well, people dressed like him anyway, didn't they?
It was just like, you just go to a house party, you're like, what are you? I'm The Crow. So it's like, and it's always like some goth guy just sat in the corner with a can of like Strongbow, just dressed as The Crow.
With hair over his head. Yeah.
Strong Crow. Just like, yeah.
Number 1, and I think Andrew's going to appreciate this, Blade.
I was going to mention Blade. I was genuinely going to mention
Blade
that.
for me kickstarted the new Marvel stuff, and without Blade, it wouldn't be where it is.
And it really gets to me when everyone goes on about Black Panther, black superhero, this, that, and the other. And Wesley Snipes is probably sitting there with his arms out, like, what the fuck have I done?
I know.
And Blade is miles better than Black Panther.
And one of the first ever Marvel films.
Yeah, well, it was the big success that kicked it all off, really, wasn't it? Because after that, they did X-Men.
Well, after that, it showed that there was appetite for a superhero from a comic.
Yeah.
Well, there's loads of... I remember seeing Blade for the first time, and I always remember, like, my friend had it on videotape it was his dad's copy of it. He brought it to my house, and I didn't know what it was. Just chucked it on. I didn't know it was going to be a vampire film. The first scene, you got, like, this rave going on. First time I ever saw someone getting sucked off in a film. Straight up. Like,
are you actually talking about Oral? Are you talking about the other sucked off the vampire?
I want about the 18 rated naughty Pornhub sucked off by her is what I'm on about. But in the nightclub, it's this fucking woman this woman sucking a man's willy. I was like, what is this? I was like,
can you imagine when all the blood came down? No, if she's still doing that and then her fangs come out, he's in trouble.
I know, but it's going to be like a Richmond sausage being ripped off.
I hope, right, that guy was checking his watch because there must have been a timer on that blood being set off. So if he's in the middle of that, he's got to be looking at his watch thinking, I better put this away before the blood gets going.
But like, it's a great... I watched it. I did watch it like a couple of months ago. I think I watched it around Christmas time, actually, with Liz. Liz hated it. Liz was like, this is fucking stupid, and she checked out and went,
I tell you what is stupid. It's the Deacon's character at the end where he turns into the blood monster.
Yeah.
It's the worst part of the film, unfortunately.
I agree with that. Yeah, that is.
But it's an amazing film to that point, and it's the first film I ever owned on DVD.
The CGI.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on the topic of Blade, because I was going to bring this up as well, because Blade always gets brought up when people talk about Black Panther. They say, "Oh, but you had Blade first." What about Spawn?
Yeah, I agree.
Michael J. White never gets mentioned ever.
The problem you have with Spawn is it wasn't a big box office success, was it?
But still a cult classic. I watched it.
I agree. I think Spawn's a decent film.
Because when I was in school, Spawn was like, it was like the sort of like the super edgy, cool kid thing to like with Spawn. So Spawn, you had the Spawn comics and stuff, and people were like, "Oh man, Spawn." But then the film came out, and you had the cartoon on Sky as well. But like, I remember seeing. The film's terrible when you watch it now, but when you were a kid, it was great. Like,
I don't think it's terrible. I think it's got some things going for it. The main thing is Michael J. White. I think I really liked him, Michael J. White. He just, unfortunately, he just didn't seem to get, a part that would sort of kickstart his career.
Who knows what happened though? I mean, he's a good actor. He's a really good actor. He's brilliant at action films and stunts and stuff. I just don't get.
Yeah.
I don't get like why he just couldn't catch on to Hollywood. The last thing I saw him in was Black Dynamite.
Oh, what a film!
Love Black Dynamite.
Great film.
Black Dynamite.
Is that too modern to do for Rewind the Movies? Black Dynamite.
Maybe we'll do a special.
Yeah.
Well, Black Dynamite. I sell drugs to the community or to the kids.
Not the kids.
Right, I've got some honourable mentions, and these are debatable whether they're superhero films or not. Right. So bear with me. Highlander. Right, and this is why I'm saying it's debatable. I love it.
He's got powers, isn't he? So
well, he's immortal, yeah. So, but I think I like that film more because it's got an amazing soundtrack. I think we'll have to revisit that one as well. Sorry, I made a list here. I got a guilty pleasure for Flash Gordon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not Flash Gordon, the parody. But what I would say about Flash Gordon is it's a bit of a mess towards the end, simply because the actor walked out, didn't he, and they had to make use of what was left.
Well, you call him an actor, but he was an American football player, actually, wasn't he?
Well,
so
yeah, exactly. You've mentioned Superman 2. I would go as far as saying I don't mind all three of them, even the one with Richard Pryor in.
So you saying there is no Superman 4?
Well,
it is.
Okay. I forgot about Superman 4, but maybe.
No, we know there's a Superman 4, but it's kind of like Rocky 5, isn't it? You don't talk about it.
Like Fight Club. And then I got even bigger guilty pleasure, or guiltier pleasure, if that's the word. Supergirl. It's not an amazing film, but I grew up on it because I grew up with my mum and my sister constantly watching it.
I grew up fancying Helen Slater.
Yeah, very, very attractive.
Wow.
Lady.
Can I bring up another one as well, just quickly? One which never gets mentioned ever on. I don't think there's even a YouTube video about this film, and I want you both to Google or go on IMDb and look up this film poster, because I just saw the poster again and I'm like, what the fuck was I watching when I was younger? But it's written, directed, and stars Robert Townsend, so another black superhero, and it's called The Meteor Man from 1993.
With Eddie Murphy?
No.
Meteor Man?
Robert Townsend.
I remember that.
I used to get that from the video shop when I was younger, and I used to really like it. He gets hit. Is a man that gets struck by a giant meteor, by a meteor. I always remember it's a scene where he's like, he's got this big meteor on his chest, and he just becomes this superhero.
Yeah, I remember it. I don't think I've seen it, but I remember the
film. The film you were thinking about. I think it was Metro with Eddie Murphy.
Maybe.
Similar title. But
I'm just thinking of Pluto Nash.
I was going to say maybe it's Pluto Nash.
Meteor Man is like, I can already kind of tell from the poster right now what it would be like if I watched it again. But I used to like when I was a kid.
I never saw Meteor Man, but I distinctly remember the poster.
Yeah, I'm the same. Look, I'm going to mention a couple others. Right, they're not great. But there was a series of Marvel films that came out in the 90s. Punisher being one of them, with Dolph Lundgren. What's the other guy?
The original Captain America.
Captain America.
I remember seeing that film on TV, and that is actually something I wouldn't mind revisiting.
Well, there's Thor and Incredible Hulk. There's that one.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
I distinctly remember the last scene. They're on a beach.
Yeah, that's not a great film. There's the infamous Fantastic Four.
Never got released.
Never got released.
I think you can watch it all on YouTube. I think it's all on YouTube to watch.
And there's another one, and for the love of money, isn't there another? There's at least another Punisher as well, isn't there? So.
Well, I was going to bring that up right now. I watched that a few months ago. Hilariously stupid. You should do an episode on Punisher from 2009, I think is wrong. Wow.
And I got a question on another film. whether it's superhero. Masters of the Universe.
Mm.
Would you class it as superhero?
Yeah, well, he is a superhero.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Adam to come up with something then.
What about sorry,
Adam was thinking, no, it didn't drop. You were thinking of a punchline, you couldn't get one.
I've never seen He-Man the film. I've seen the cartoon. I never saw
whoa! It's not He-Man. Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe. I never saw Masters of the Universe, the canon films one.
The fact is, my canon. Come on.
I never saw it, but I've seen the cartoon, so I can't give any sort of like. Also, He-Man or Masters of the Universe, that franchise was more you guys and you were kids. By the time I came onto the scene, it was all Turtles and Ghostbusters.
The reason I'm pedantic about the name is simply because Masters of the Universe, the film, is nothing like the TV series, and the TV series I would call He-Man. So
I'm looking at the film now. I've never seen it. I don't think I ever will watch it because it looks like garbage.
Right. On that note, we're gonna wrap up. I will leave you with one last film, The Toxic Avenger.
Oh man, I love The Toxic Avenger. I love that. I've got like the box set downstairs. Why didn't I mention that earlier? Christ. Because I don't. It's more for fucking sex. It's a kid gets his head run over by a car. Why didn't I bring that one up?
I didn't realize you had a love for him. I did think, there must be a film Adam loves.
I've spoke to the film's director before and asked him questions about the Toxic Avenger. That's how deep into the Toxic Avenger I got into before. I loved that film, but save it for next time.
Yeah, all right, let's wrap up there. Podcasts come out every Wednesday. Our specials come out every Friday. Actually, Prog wants to do something.
No, I was waving goodbye.
All right. If you want us to do a film in the future, just let us know or a topic. Hit us up on social media. Anyway, thank you all.
Good night.